Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the DFS Army quick video tip of the day. I'm going to try and keep this at about 5 minutes to get you just a really fast tip on the difference between cash game lineups and GPP lineups. A lot of people ask this question. The best thing to do for me is to call up the starting lineups page at rotogrinders.com. Rotogrinders is a free site, great site, probably the benchmark for data right now when it comes to daily fantasy sports. And what I do when I look at this page, of course, is I'm starting to target numbers here, offensive numbers. I look at the odds, I look at the pitcher matchups, I look at the lineups, and I'm scrolling down and looking for targets. Cleveland, not in a bad spot. Scheduled to score over 4 runs, 8.5 over under. Pitchers favored. Pittsburgh here is in a good spot, 4.5 runs, huge favorite. I know that Williams Perez is actually one of the worst pitchers on the slate today. Toronto, Philly, I mean, I'm not going to shy away from these games necessarily, but I'm really not going to attack them. Tigers, weather, sort of weather. You look here at the weather here, it looks like it really dies off during the day. So when I tell you that in the Chin Music articles, that's what I've seen, that's what I'm looking at. Diamondbacks, great spot. Big game, potentially both teams can go off here. You don't really have any great pitchers there. That game's probably going to be heavily targeted in cash. In GPPs, you might consider fading it, or you might consider just stacking the hell out of it, depending on how you want to go. I think this is the game for GPPs that I would be on, in that you've got a couple of low-ranked pitchers and decent run totals and offenses that are affordable and people aren't necessarily going to be on. But for cash, this is my pitcher, a lowish total. The offense is not scheduled to score much. LA does not strike out that often. But Maeda is by far, in my opinion, the best pitcher on the slate. I think that in cash games, he's the pitcher you go with. I think that in GPPs, he's the pitcher you go away from. That doesn't mean you roster Shoemaker. That means you pick another option. If we scroll back up here, you might look at a J Happ. You might look at a Drew Smiley. You might look at a John Neese if you're really looking to save some money. These guys are heavy favorites. They should get you the win. I don't think Neese has a lot of upside. This game I'm off of because of the weather. But anyway, that's what I'm looking at. Another thing that I look at is I go to Notorious's Grind Down article. This thing is just the benchmark for articles. I pull a lot of my information out of here. So if he ever watches these videos, I owe him a huge hat tip for the work that he does and makes things a lot easier on me. Now, granted, I translate these and give you guys my opinion based on what I see, but this is kind of where I start and what gets my brain thinking or started in the right direction. He ranks pitchers. I think this is an underused area of his article. The 18th ranked pitcher on the slate tonight is the worst pitcher on the slate. Happens to be Williams Perez. That means the chalk's going to be stacking the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're going to be heavily used today. Now, you might want to do what I do, which is go into the game logs and see which guys have been going the best and which guys have not been going that well, and then that may determine whether or not you even use Pittsburgh in this situation, because if they're all running like crap, I don't care how bad the pitcher is. They aren't seeing the ball well, and I probably won't use too many of them. I'll let everybody else make that mistake. Sorry, that's my soda coming at you. But again, these are just little benchmarks of how I'm finding some of these guys. Now, if we go into who we're going to compare, I'm going to use Notorious as he's the chalk-eating godfather in that he is a cash game guy, cash game mindset. When he is talking about players and good situations, I'm typically for cash, I'm on it, and for GPPs, I'm kind of off of it. Let's see what he says about Pittsburgh. He says, "He quietly been scoring a lot of runs. Ranked Fit Williams is a low strikeout pitcher. Favorable matchup. Hit from both sides of the plate here are in play. Blah blah blah. Elite plays, stackability, cash, and GPP. So everybody and their brother is going to be on the Pirates today. Let me show you in these two lineups what the difference between a cash lineup and a GPP lineup is. Cash lineup on the bottom, Maeda, top-ranked pitcher on the slate. Cash game catcher in Cervelli. Not going to get you a lot of zeros. He was going better earlier in the year, but he's going to get you, maybe around 10 points. I know he's got 20-point upside, but he's not going to get you zeros. He's going to scratch some points out. If you look at Yasmani Grandal, who is also in a good spot, if you remember, targeting Shoemaker here in LA, but look at his game log. Yes, he's got the upside, but look, he's got a lot of zeros in there too. So I don't want the zeros. I would throw him into a GPP lineup and Cervelli in a cash game lineup. I would also stack a little bit more in a GPP lineup. I didn't get any other Dodgers in there because I found other options. I went for a little bit more power. Look at this. Rougned Odor is probably the chalk second baseman tonight for good reason. He's in a good matchup against a horrible pitcher. And if you look at his game log, he scores your points, and we know what he was doing last week. Everybody's going to be probably looking here. So for a cash game, I'm throwing him in there because he's a great pitcher or a great hitter in a great spot. He's capable. He's doing well lately outside of last night's right hook where he decided he wanted to do some DFS MMA. Looking at Jean Segura, he's my GPP option because, yes, he's got some ability to pop, 20 to 30 points, but he's also not been going that great lately, but they find themselves in a great spot, so I really think you're going to get lower ownership here. I would stack Diamondbacks. I would stack Dodgers. You're going to get off the herd with the Arizona Diamondbacks a little bit. But notice I'm dipping into other games that you probably wouldn't go after. Tulowitzki is obviously a GPP play as far as a shortstop is concerned. Corey Seager tonight going up against Shoemaker again. Look at this, is probably a steady Eddie cash game play. So that's why he's in my cash lineup, and Tulo is in my GPP lineup. If you look over here at the Pirates, it's the same kind of thing. I'm going to put one in one area and one in the other. I've got Rua in both because, to be honest with you, he's going up against a terrible pitcher in Minea, and look at these numbers he's been putting up lately. That's not bad for 2,300, guys. So he can be used in both formats. So comparing the two really, really quickly, typically you're going to find my stacks up here. I'm not afraid to leave money on the table up here. You're going to find the non-chalk pitcher up here. You're going to find catchers with power. You're going to find guys that are a little bit off the herd. You're going to find guys I'm taking a risk on. You're going to find guys, the more upside guy versus the two on the other team, where I've got a little more steady guy down here and a little more upside guy up here. I didn't stack this one particularly hard, but I did get away from the games that have the best matchups. This isn't a great pitching matchup, so I went away from the herd here a little bit and drew in some outside influences. Down here, you're going to find a very chalky lineup. You're going to find the number one pitcher on the slate. You're going to find the best chance at getting a win and getting some strikeouts. You're going to find the steady player, the cheaper catcher that's not going to maybe score me 20 or 30 points, but at the same time is not going to land me a goose egg very often. You're going to find a little bit of interesting options here with some upside. You're going to find somebody like an Encarnacion who's not in a terrible spot, not in a great spot, but if you look at what he's been doing lately, he's been putting up 15 to 20 points rather consistently. I'll take that. You look here at the chalk second baseman. You look over here at some exposure to a great game in a relatively cheap way. I could also flip-flop and put Kung down here. But if I want to look really quickly, I'm going against a rookie pitcher, and I'm going against a guy that isn't getting me a whole bunch of zeros but does have some upside. So, again, that's the theme for cash for me. It's no zeros, no zeros, no zeros. Corey Seager. Another one. You're not going to get a lot of zeros out of him right now. Trace Thompson. See how I actually am stacking some Dodgers down low here. You're not going to typically find me running more than two guys from the same team in my cash lineups. You've got yourself a Texas guy and a Texas guy, an LA guy and an LA guy, an Arizona guy, and you've got him surrounded by a couple of Pittsburghs and a little bit of Toronto. These are all guys that are in decent matchups to good matchups tonight. They should all be successful, and my pitcher gives me the best shot at earning a win. And up here is where you're going to find a little bit more risk. That's why there's going to be a little bit more stacking. That's why there's going to be a little bit more off-the-herd type stuff. When the obvious choice is here, bam, I go away from it. When the obvious choice is here, bam, I go away from it. But I'm picking up power when I do so that if these guys do run one out, I'm going to get a lot of points, and I'm going to possibly gain ground on the steady eddies down here. So hopefully you're seeing a little bit of the mindset why these lineups get built differently and why they get run in separate contests. So that's just your quick under 10-minute tip today, and hopefully we're back tomorrow with another one. Peace out.